Okay, guys, we are here for another episode of Life and Whatever Else at the studios of the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, 59th Street. Shout out to them. Thank you for having us. Um, and we are here. We have a special guest. She's returning. It's her second time on the show, Miss Aysha Mirza.
Hi.
Glad to have
Hi,
you back.
everyone. Nice to see you all again.
And I see that you have some new gear that you're
I have
wearing.
some new gear.
So talk to us a little bit about all the United States stuff.
Well, as we know from your last show, I may or may not actually have upgraded to a Team USA kit after being dropped from a hypocritical running company named
Ooh.
Oiselle. Yes,
Whoa.
this is an upgrade. How did Beyonce say?
Let me
Let me upgrade you.
There we go.
There we go. And I may or may not have upgraded with a little bit of hardware.
I see those medals. Those look very, very nice.
These are shiny 1,500 and 800 meter medals from the NCCWMA Championships in Toronto.
Congratulations on those.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
I earned them.
Yes. I can see that you.
know.
I was paying attention. I did pay attention to your Facebook and everything, and I saw you running and all that. So
it was my return to competitive track and field after a year and a half off.
It looks like it was a good return.
It was. it was what we can say a very excellent time trial that I wasn't expecting to do anything in. I bested the bronze medalist by 23 seconds in the 1,500.
Okay, there we go.
And I also fell to her by 5 seconds in the 800. And yeah, I'm a little salty.
Yeah, but I was telling you before the show that if you're a competitor, in any sport, you should be salty.
You should be. You should get on that starting line, and you should be aiming for that gold, and you should always go in there with the full mentality that you can.
Exactly. Because if you don't go in with that mentality, then you're beat as is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had just gotten cleared to run again not even a month prior. So I was well aware that I wasn't going in with this championship as my peak performance. My next goal is cross country club championships in December in Kentucky. I love cross country. I cannot begin to tell you how much I love cross country.
Let me guess. You love cross country.
Just a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Cross country is life. But the track is my home. Okay. Running, I don't care if you hate it intermittently, but every one of us, when you have passion for the sport, you have passion for the sport. And that's so important.
Oh, it's great to have passion.
And being a competitor, there's a difference. Like, I would go to all of these major national track meets and world indoors and stuff, and I would watch my friends compete for their medals. And it's always wonderful to watch them get theirs. But it's completely different when you're on your first international team and you're going around the campus, around the track, and they're just other athletes from other countries just traipsing along, and you know that they're your competitors, but you have this one link between all of you, is that you love this sport, you're here to compete, and it's the most beautiful thing. I just can't even begin to tell you what the feeling is to walk around and just see, it's North and Central America and the Caribbean. So, you saw Peru and you saw Nicaragua, and you saw Canada, and you saw Mexico, and you just saw all of these countries.
That's real cool. I like, in any sport, I like international competition, so that must be really cool, like seeing, because you also get to learn about the differences.
Yeah.
In like each culture.
And my Spanish had a lot of work. I took a lot of Spanish in school, so I took about 5 years worth in school and then 2 semesters in college, and I don't practice it as often as I'd like, so all of a sudden it all came right back.
There you go.
Right away, and I think I'm handy. The only woman in my heat that was speaking any Spanish whatsoever, so it was interesting. But I can't, and the looks on my parents' faces when I came home and they got me from the airport, like, my mom was crying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was in tears. And
that's great.
I made sure to wear the medals outside the airport. It was actually
yeah.
kind of funny. I had them
Yeah.
on because I went straight from the 800 to the airport. So I literally competed, put my warm-ups
Boom, and
on,
then
grabbed my luggage from where I was staying.
uh-huh.
And another Team USA member, he saw me with all my stuff and he's like, "Oh, well, where are you going?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to the airport. I've got to catch an Uber." He's like, "Well, I have my car. Like, I can just drive you." So thank you, Team USA, for being awesome.
Oh, is that
That would be
certain
that would
someone
be the
up
first
there?
lap of the 800.
Oh, look at that.
She
Look at
caught me
that.
at 500. And that's Nicaragua right behind me. So, yeah. Yeah, I felt a lot stronger than I was that
Okay.
morning.
Good.
My warm-ups, everything went perfect,
So
except
did
that
you have that like adrenaline when you were running first
you
time
always
back?
have adrenaline. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, if I could start talking about that 15, I will tell you, I have never experienced a false start
there
in a
you go.
distance rate. Yeah, there I go. That's the beginning of the end, basically, because she wanted
the beginning of the end.
she wanted it more than I did.
Well, you're in
No.
front of her there, so there you
Yes,
go.
and it's misleading in that sense because at about 500 in, it gets a little tricky. I just wasn't strong enough that day, and I realized that I have really, really like significant rituals of what I eat and what I don't eat and how I sleep and things like that.
Yeah.
And Tiana Bartoletta actually has a wonderful blog. She's an Olympian and a multi-medalist, and she wrote how expensive it is to be a pro athlete because she insists on eating certain things, having certain hotel rooms, hotel stays. She can't have a roommate, I think is what she said. Yes, that's me vomiting after the 800. You gave it your all.
Running hard there. There you go.
Well, I mean, I would hope I gave it all. My coach would be very disappointed if I didn't. He actually saw the time and he was like, "You weren't supposed to really race that time, so you were a good 7 seconds off in that 800, faster than you should have been."
Okay.
I mean, the race itself and the splits are really ugly, but that's okay. And that's one of my best friends. That's Jen St. John. She is, I can't even begin to tell you how amazing of a competitor she is and what an inspiration she is to me to keep competing at this level. She's
You always need
just
inspirations.
everything. You always have to have amazing motivations and inspirations.
Because you're gonna get down from time to time. It happens.
Oh
so
my gosh.
you definitely
and
need
she's
somebody
always there.
who's
She's
there.
always there. She and I share the same birth date.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're both November 4th babies. So we're both Scorpios, and we have this like connection that we've had since we first met. So it really does help a lot, especially since she was basically my mentor coming into these championships, herself and Mark Williams, who is another New Jersey runner, just like myself. And I now race for his team and my coach's team, the New Jersey Garmin runners.
Shout out
to Garmin runners. Thank you for welcoming me. I appreciate it. I'm really excited to see what I can do. I mean, I still have my coach. I've always had my coach, so that's wonderful. But yeah, so she was my mentor, but she kind of fell off because she was preparing for her own race for the 1500. And without my coach being there, I've learned some international racing rules the hard way. Like when my call time is basically when my race time was at this specific meet, and I didn't realize that, and I didn't get a warm up in.
Ooh.
And we were supposed to be on the line, and I was just like, oh my God, my coach is going to kill me. Like, how do you not get your warm up and your drills in and not realize what time you're supposed to be in the call?
That's funny.
Oh, that was adrenaline wasted.
Sure it's funny now to think about that.
It's
but
funny.
At the
but
time,
the live videos that I was transmitting, not so much. And so I ended up really beginning to like freak out that I didn't warm up and I'm going into this race cold.
Yeah.
And everyone around me is just like, it happens. And I'm like, no, this is not what's supposed to happen. This is so bad. And we get to the start line of the 15 and there's about 15 of us in the heat, and we're waiting for the gun to go off, and we're waiting and there's no crack, and we're just like, we hear like a click, like a small little click, and we're just like, what happened? And it didn't go off. It was a false start for a
Oh,
distance
man.
event, like a mid-distance event. It's the first time I've ever seen a false start in my life
Wow.
and like a mid-distance event. And then all of a sudden they're like, competitors, hold your places for a moment. You need to give us a few minutes because the thunder started.
Okay.
And wherever there's thunder, there's lightning.
Yeah.
And then the only time a track meet is ever called off or delayed is
Is
when you see lightning.
lightning.
So we had a lightning delay. And
Mm.
so we're all warmed up. We're ready to go. We were on the line. And
This is quite the return
it's just
here.
literally, yeah, right?
Missed the warm up.
My first time spiking up in over a year and a half. It was the most glorious feeling.
So we missed the warm up. We got lightning delay.
We had a lightning delay.
You
And
know,
at that point, we're all
everything.
just inside waiting and trying to keep warm. And I'm like, you know what? God was on my side. My Taiachi, my uncle, was there, and he just said, Aysha needs to get her warm up in.
Needs to get that
and
warm up in.
So I was
there
able
you
to
go.
get a warm up in proper. I was able to do my drills. I stretched out while I was waiting, and I had a 1500 where the clock was off by 17 seconds. So all of us
17
thought we
seconds.
were
Wow.
17 seconds slow.
Wow. You look at your time at the end and you're like,
I was just like, oh, this
What
is
is this?
disgusting. Oh my God, this is so bad. And I sat there.
17 seconds. How does that happen?
I don't know, and I just did not care to ask because they fixed it at the end, and you got to see your name on the
Yeah.
screen with the United States
Yeah.
next to your name, and that's all that mattered. But, whew, it was a race and a half. So then the next day, I got to be a spectator and a cheerleader, and I got to cheer my teammates on, and I got quick
and I know
little
that you love
run-in.
cheering.
I am so good at cheering after being off for a year and a half. I am like, master cheerleader at this point.
Yeah.
I can cheer anyone on, and I will run alongside anyone. I've run alongside many teammates and gotten them PRs because I wasn't allowed to go
Yeah.
fast. So
I'm sure that they appreciate that. You know,
yeah, no,
any
I
little
hope so.
inspiration.
I don't
If they
mind.
don't, that's pretty messed up. If they don't,
It is what it is. I
but
mean,
tell me something. I'm curious about something. When you win that medal, how hard is it up there to get up on that podium, on that stand, and get your medal? And you're like, man, I could have maybe done a little better. And you got to put that smile on your face.
oh, did I just hit it? Because I would hit my head against the
Yeah.
wall over and over.
Make sure you get the mic right in front of your mouth there.
And
You can
I moved the mic, didn't I? All
There
right,
we
let's
go.
try that again.
That's-
So
there it
let's
is.
just face palm. Let's just bury our face in our hands and just, it's hard because there were quite a few mistakes that I made before that race, and you learn from your mistakes, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. You learn
Yeah.
from your mistakes, and I really should have bothered my coach beforehand because he would have reminded me to absolutely keep behind her for the first lap and then throw down
Yeah.
my kick, as opposed to me thinking, hey, I bested her by 23 seconds.
Yeah.
I can hold her off
I
for
can
2
hold her.
laps. No,
No.
that didn't work.
No.
Yeah, and so there were little things that I did wrong that I really would like to fix for the next time. And a part of it, like, honestly, it's eating. I actually took my own spaghetti. Yes, my
Uh-oh.
own spaghetti. I have to have my own spaghetti before a race. I
Okay.
cannot eat out. I just won't do it. I have my own special seasoning from Red Robin. It's like a burger joint, and I put that on my spaghetti, and my spaghetti has to be done a certain way. And it's what I eat before a race or a long run. It is what I eat. I took it with me to San Francisco for cross country nationals. I took it with me on the plane, 2 big plate, like Tupperwares full of it, to Canada. And I
gotta do what
didn't
you
eat
gotta
it the
do.
night before because I attended the
Ugh.
banquet the night before, and I ate their pasta, and that threw me
Oh.
off in the morning. I didn't sleep well. There's like a whole video that I
cool
was
at
like
all.
recording on the way to the track. I'm like, I don't feel well. Like, I definitely didn't sleep right.
Oh,
We're
man.
gonna see how this race goes. and a lot of it is your mindset and your mentality, though. At the end of the day, whether you say you can or whether you say you can't, you're right.
Mhm.
And sadly,
I like that.
as soon as, well, I mean, it's been quoted many times. I wouldn't even know who the original quote is
many
attributed
times.
to, but
can
it's
find
been,
it
it's
someday,
been
but-
attributed, but it's true. It's a
It's
very
very
true
true.
factual statement.
Mhm.
I came up on the last 700. I'm 100 from the finish, and all I thought to myself was, you didn't train enough yet. Like, Aysha, you're not strong enough to throw this down right now. And that's it. in that instant, if you tell yourself, if you say it for even a millisecond,
Yeah.
you turn your body off. You
Mhm.
need to not do that in the middle of a race, any race. You just have to say, I can, I will, I am
Yeah.
strong enough. Because if you become negative in any way, shape, or form, your body responds the same way.
Yeah.
And I am training myself mentally to be able to do that more often
Mhm.
in a race, because it's a little different when you come back after a year and a half and you haven't properly trained than when you've done the workouts and you've put in the hard work and you've put in the effort over a
Mhm.
season, and you can turn back and you can think back and say, well, coach had me do that 10 miler with an 8-mile warm up and the last 2 at race pace, throw it down as hard as you can. And I remember vomiting at that. And that makes me strong enough to compete at this level, to compete in this race. I can throw down those times because I've done it before. So there's a mentality that's involved in racing. Like, I'm not a very good trainer. I train because I have to. I train, I love it.
Yeah.
I love getting out and going for a run, but I'm best when you put other people next to me and I have someone to compete against.
I see that in a lot of athletes. Like, I think anybody who watches sports always knows what Allen Iverson said, and he was like, practice, we talking about practice. Like, some people, they're just not in that mode, and like they're not the best at that, but when you put them on the court or you put them on the track or field, whatever,
different mentality.
completely different mentality.
It's a different person that comes
because there's somebody else there that wants
that's
to
pushing you to be
that wants
the
to
best
beat
that
you.
you can be.
So it's like it's just that constant like competition,
and it's beautiful. It's the best way to run.
Oh yeah,
I love it. I love it so much. I love being right there neck and neck with someone, and I'll throw a surge down and they'll match it. They'll throw one down, I'll match it. It's the most fabulous time in the world. It's so good.
I get that feeling. You're like loving it, like in your head.
I'm
you're like,
in blinder. I literally just know what's
race
going
right
on
now.
Yeah. It was the mentality I had coming in when I had to start training.
Look at that picture right there.
Oh, yeah, that was on the
nice
plane. That was a
picture.
selfie on the plane. Selfie coach in action.
There we go.
Yep. That was after everything, and I was still dirty sitting on the plane. I felt so, I was like, I just wish I could take a shower so bad. And I had these medals clanging in the airport. And because, I figured they were going to make us take anything metal out or they were going to go through my bags or anything. So I was just like, let me just wear them. And, I had my kit on and everything. And thank you, Toronto and Team USA, for loving me, because apparently my bag should have been opened and checked. And they looked at me like, but you just earned medals for your country and you did us proud. So we trust everything you have in your bag.
There you go. Perfect.
I mean, I would never have anything in my bag that wasn't right, but that was one. Hey, I'll wear those medals around the airport.
If it gets me through, boom, let's go.
No, but I mean, it's a different kind of respect, and it's a different kind of respect you have for yourself. You gain a lot of confidence in any type of competition, and especially something where there are world records being broken daily. Like, it's motivating. It's absolutely wonderful because no one out there is giving up. And I cannot deal with the giving up aspect of life anymore. Like, I've done it and I've had it in my past, and I don't want to see anyone else make the same mistakes I did. So I'm always telling, when I go to cross country camp, I literally got off that plane, slept 2 hours, and woke up for a 3-hour drive to take a 6 a.m. run at cross country camp with the high school girls that I end up mentoring every summer. And, I teach them constantly, don't give up, like never give up, because you don't know what's coming.
That's like the best piece of advice.
It really, you won't ever see me crying on the ground, on the cement, that running is hard. You'll never see me doing that, ever.
Of course, there are going to be parts of it
there's
that are
gonna
like,
be the hard parts
hard,
make you stronger.
Exactly.
You can, you have a time period where you're allowed to be upset. It's a bad race. It's a bad day. But every day that you have on this earth is God-given. And, you wake up and you say, okay, today's a new day. What can I do to do it better? What can I do
every day is
to make myself better?
Every day is a chance to make yourself better.
Absolutely.
So you shouldn't ever wake up and think, oh, I'm done. Like, I can't do this.
And I mean,
it's a new day. You have
exactly.
another chance.
I mean, I'm very bummed if my coach gets annoyed at me. I don't like disappointing my coach because I know that he's really just trying everything he can
Yeah.
to make me a better athlete. So, I learn all the time. And, it's funny that I read an excuse by a blogger that, oh, I don't want to go for my run today because I just got my hair blown out. And I was just kind of like, I'm the model and I have my hair blown out and done so often,
Yeah.
but I'm still going to try and get my run in. I've avoided runs for other reasons, but.
Was this our favorite blogger?
Oh, favorite is an interesting word of choice.
You mentioned blogger, and it just
I mean, blogger, yeah, bloggers.
popped into my head.
They're interesting people.
So what's going on with that? Update.
Oh, update.
Since you're here.
Since I'm here and since, we may as well update on the situation. So for those that don't know, I was dropped from a prominent women's running team and actually accused of being a bully.
But like we said, there was an upgrade. So
There was, I mean,
there you go.
Let's be quite real.
Yeah.
Upgrade. But recently in the news this past weekend, as you see on the screen, Marathon Investigation. Yes, our favorite. Well, if we're gonna call him a blogger of any kind, I just call him, God's gift to runners, to honest, non-cheating runners.
Yeah.
He helps to make sure that there's a lot of honesty in running and marathons, and especially for Boston qualifiers, which is already, we've mentioned it, it's the most prestigious marathon in the United States. People cheat to get into the marathon. They use other people's times. They'll, purchase bibs. They will go to all sorts of lengths to run this marathon.
Just to run the marathon.
Just to run Boston and say that they've run Boston, or
just to
qualify,
say that they've run it,
or to qualify and they can't do it. And it saddens me because there are other alternatives. You can raise money for a charity. So why cheat? Why cheat at all?
I don't know.
In general,
people do crazy things.
People, on spouses and marriages. Like I'm just an anti-cheater. Like not a fan.
It's good.
Not a fan. But it's interesting that they found a bandit. And the bandit was now caught and suspended from all Disney races. And this just becomes really important for, the story I get to tell you. It's not a story. There are a lot of facts and truths in it. But yes, I was dropped from the team for bringing up the fact that, we don't know if this blogger is being compensated in any way, shape, or form. She's very wishy-washy on her social media. She lied on her social media over and over again. There are screenshots. There's just so much. We wondered aloud. We were told that in order to protect, I'm sorry.
Gonna pull up some good stuff for us.
You go ahead and pull up some good stuff. And it is, well, that's interesting. Okay. It is Fashion Week time, so
yes, Fashion Week, crazy time in the
so
city.
as soon as I see an agency email, it's just
totally understandable.
Automatic. I have to double check and make sure that I'm not supposed to be somewhere.
That's totally understandable.
It's
a crazy week in the city.
So while it's going to be lovely. Yeah, it'll be a fun time. But so
go ahead. You all set?
I'm set.
All right.
I'm gonna grab a little bit.
Go ahead, get some water. I was just about to ramble
again,
for a second.
I'll go through the timeline really quickly. We
yes,
the team.
Us all.
Let's refresh. The team brings up the question, is she being paid? Is she sponsored? What's going on? Her social media doesn't indicate anything. There are things you're supposed to write. FTC rules and regulations state that if you're being paid or you're being sponsored or you have free gear coming to you, that you write the words #ad, #sponsored on your posts.
Okay.
This blogger has a social media following and wasn't doing that. So we started to ask questions, but on January 22nd, I asked, hey, we have like a really big conversation going on in this unofficial, non-Oiselle, headquarter team page. It's a fan page. We have this huge conversation. I alert a couple of the headquarter members. I run them a text. There's something going on, and I'm just going to inform you about it in a little bit because there's a huge conversation. Kate Grace is no longer with Oiselle, and what's happening? Why is Oiselle focusing on this blogger and this message? Which there's nothing wrong with accepting yourself and having some self-love and self-respect. And I have never, ever, ever taken away from anyone who has gained any positivity in their lives from this person. But why is she all of a sudden saying that she's been invested in by Oiselle and etc.? So by the 22nd, I go directly to the CEO and I say, hey, we have this situation going on. Like, how can I handle it? Because I'm a part of the team and I want to handle it properly. What does she say? She doesn't care what happens on the Facebook page. I don't care. Wait, the Facebook page that actually allows for the majority of your team to communicate with each other and get really excited about the clothing and talk about the pros and the elites, that we really share their joys.
But she didn't care.
She didn't care. No. She said, I don't care what happens on the Facebook page. I don't care about it at all. They can email me directly or they can post on Ning. And Ning was the private, official Oiselle team forum. I believe that's actually changed. Oh, there are excuses on the wall right now. So a Volet team member brings it up on January 26th. You know, hey, like, why is this woman being exalted when there are so many other women on the team that also share size discrepancies in running? Because, you know, let's be real, elite runners definitely have a stereotype of looking a certain way for distance running, for sure. And so it's valid, you know, why should everyone fit into this cookie cutter notion that you have to look a certain way to be a runner? Absolutely not. You have to run to be a runner.
Exactly. You look how you look. And
you look how you look. And, you know, strong looks different on everyone. So let's maintain it. So on the 31st, and I posted what I wrote in this commentary on this thread, like, you know, these are the questions as the messenger from, I oversaw this Facebook page of over 1,000 women that were on the team. And I saw every one of their comments. And so I decided, I was trying to figure out if I should email headquarters or whatnot. So then I just said, you know, let me put everything up on this post, and I have to be on set to shoot in the morning, and I'm still like all night, like, you know, it's a huge mess that's happening. So I post, I'm the messenger. I post everyone's questions, everyone's queries, and then I list some of my own. They're all on my blog on ayshamirza.wordpress.com. Every one of them, everything I've ever written, because I will stand by my word. I have
Head
no
to the blog,
problem.
people.
I have no problem standing by what I say. If you tell me that I've said something wrong and you give me the proof for it, then I can admit that I'm wrong. But I'm not going to apologize for stating something like the tweet that got me dropped from the team, because what I stated was truth. So, you know, the thread ends up being deleted the same day. It literally starts on the 26th and it's deleted on the 26th in order to protect everyone involved. Okay. So Sally, the CEO, then on the 31st texts me and says, now, let's keep in mind the reasoning that was given, and this is going to come into play later, is that I was a bully. That's why I was dropped from the team.
You a bully?
I was a bully. But let's talk about that a little bit. I get that a bully is supposed to be someone who uses superior strength or influence to intimidate someone, typically to force him or her to do what one wants. Now,
it's the definition right there.
That's the definition. That's the dictionary definition of being a bully. On January 31st, I receive a text message from the CEO, and I get, hey, Aysha, just tried calling but couldn't get through. Our lawyers recently suggested that any non-endorsed social media accounts refrain from using Oiselle in the name, as it's our trademark. I realize Feather and Lesko initially okayed it, but can you please change the name of your Facebook group so that Oiselle is not in the name? We went through this exercise with other Volet groups with Insta accounts, etc. Please confirm. Thank you. Please Google the name Oiselle and see how many Instagram and Facebook accounts come up, and tell me how my fan page, which was listed as a fan page. Is in what refrain from using Oiselle in the name as it's our trademark. Now, I ran a fan page.
Yeah.
It's not official. There was nothing official team-oriented in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with a good discussion so long as
Yeah.
you're not commenting on someone's body type, because the women that actually did comment on body types are still on the team now as of this taping. They weren't dropped. I never commented on a body type. I wouldn't.
But you were a bully.
But I was the bully for saying what I said and being the messenger. But wait, this gets better. I was the bully that mentioned lawyers.
Yeah, I didn't hear that from you.
Does Oiselle and Oiselle's CEO have a history of bashing Nike? And they have a history of calling out Nike, USATF, IAAF, IOC, USOC for not being transparent and being hypocritical. But right now, I don't see Nike threatening lawyers on fan pages on Facebook. I'm just pointing out a fact.
That's crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there.
So that's what I dealt with as I was dealing with Fashion Week last season, and I was going to meetings with top agencies at this time. Now it's Fashion Week time now.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of castings now. So let me explain. This is the busiest time of year for a model. For me to have no official place on the team, I'm not a leader. I am not sponsored. I had no official space on this team, but I did make sure that everyone in that Facebook group felt included and respected and were able to voice their opinions no matter whether or not they clashed with someone else's opinions or they had other facts or other things.
Yeah.
Now, this is the busiest time of the year for me.
Yeah.
For
Fashion
someone
Week, New
to
York
text
City.
me that they have lawyers involved at the moment, last thing I needed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll take your focus away from what you need to be focusing on.
So, as all of this drama is unfolding, because there's no clarification of the role that this blogger actually has, which is all you needed to do was state what was the truth, not be hypocritical, be transparent like you demand of everyone else in track and field. But they couldn't do that. And all of a sudden I said, I'm going to take some time. And I am not going to allow for any more posts because I was spending an insane amount of time moderating adult women who seemed to get into fights with each other and couldn't converse with each other in like a rational manner. And I just said, never mind. I need to just cut off the commenting, cut off the posting. I cannot watch over this forum at this point. There were moderators that helped and came and went as soon as the fire got hot.
Yeah.
Everyone, of course, leaves because no one wants to withstand the flames. Let's talk about strength just a little bit. Be strong. Stand up for you believe in. Like you have to be that strong in your convictions, or else you just fall for everything. So now I stopped the page for about 3 days, picked it back up when another set of women decided, hey, we're going to help you out. We'll watch over the page for a little bit. But I'm one person and Oiselle is a whole corporation, and the CEO, surely, as per the definition of bullying, has superior strength or influence at this point in track and field? I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would also agree that at that point we can equate Oiselle to having Melania's take on bullying and the CEO being Trump's actual bullying.
It's a hot take right there.
I'm just saying.
No,
I
it
see a
makes sense.
parallel.
It's messed up calling you a bully during Fashion Week.
It happens. I mean, I can focus. That's fine. And I am also someone who can actually take it if I did something wrong, like I cheated. Ooh, and you called me out on it.
Yeah.
I would have to face the facts. Sadly, this
It's
blogger
true.
couldn't face facts. March 6th, I found out that the reason she became viral was because she bought a bib to race the race that she took selfies in. And in the New York Roadrunner rules, the rules state that you should be suspended if you're caught doing this.
And she wasn't suspended.
Not at all.
Wow.
Yes, and I emailed, and they said that she understood the circumstances. And wait, let's get the. She said that she was given a warning and fully understood the circumstances around the rules, so it was determined not to ban her from participation in future events.
So
that's in 2014.
So the warning is kind of supposed to serve as like the penalty, I guess.
The warning. So there was a warning once. This is very important for what happens next. So she goes on to state publicly that she would cheat all over again with no remorse.
Really?
Derek Murphy has the blog up where you can see what she wrote and her exact words, and that she would do it all over again.
Wow. Why would she say something like that?
Because it's what gained her viral fame, and it allowed her to have the confidence to start her blog and etc. Now, I don't know. Basing it in deceit and cheating that's on you.
Yeah, cheating's not cool.
Cheating's not cool.
You know.
So on April 6th, when I'm still with the team, the CEO actually states, and it's a wonderful statement. She says you should really choose discomfort over resentment when it comes to any kind of conflict in life. Choose discomfort, approach the person instead of resenting them for long periods of time. So
that's an interesting way to approach it.
I like that approach. I think it's a really great way to look at things.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but it does.
It's really well stated.
It does. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
So I emailed the CEO and I said, do I even have what did I say here? Oh, well, actually, because of how she spoke to me at the meetup in DC about not caring about the Facebook page that I had spent so much time on to make sure that everyone felt valued and included, I emailed her to ask for 5 minutes of her time over FaceTime.
Okay.
It's the first time in the entire time that I was on the team that I ever asked for an actual phone call. And I met all of the headquarters over the years. They were the first people that I ran with. I really supported the team. I supported everything that Oiselle stood for. The majority of my friends that are, runners, competitive and non, who were just shocked when I was dropped, you were the biggest cheerleader. How did they drop you of all people?
Yeah.
And so I emailed for a phone call because, if something upsets you, which, of course, those words, which are just words, but, discounting all of the time and effort that I had placed into the team.
Yeah.
I said, actually, the reason I reached out to you, Sally, was because the last time we spoke in person in DC, you said something immensely hurtful to me. So I would love to have 5 minutes of your time in person on FaceTime. I'd rather clear that up with you when you have a moment, whenever it might be. Because you lose tone and you lose context over email and over text.
Yes.
So it's far better to speak with someone in person when you're having
I agree with that 100%.
Issue of resolution.
100%.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it's a misunderstanding. If possible, I'd like to clear it up, but I'll need to do it via email. The CEO was too busy for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of a phone call, which is the first phone call I ever requested. Wow. Now, that's troubling considering that after the fallout that happens, after I'm already dropped, they tweet a lot about how it's important to have conversations and call people. Oh, it's there. It's all on the tweets. So I find it so hypocritical at this point.
Wow.
So then on April 14th, I was shown that wonderful label that the blogger was called an elite runner. And I just said, she is not. You could have cleared this up 4 months ago.
Yeah.
but this is immensely incorrect and insulting, in my opinion, to haute volée,
Mm-hmm.
the real elite athletes. Kelly is not an elite. Please correct this. Blogger's bio. Strava. It was for Strava, which is a running app that runners use to compare their times to other runners, or just to document their own times. Or, a lot of people get really competitive on it. Like, oh, I own this segment or something. I don't use Strava a lot. I'm so sorry. I'm not like an expert at Strava, but it is a valuable tool to catch cheaters. And this is what happens next. I'm dropped from the team the same day.
Okay.
And, initially when all of this started, when everything like Oiselle started to delete the actual threads and what was said the same day, there was a shirt that came out that was called Speak Out, hashtag Speak Out.
Remember
I will
that.
speak out. So what ends up happening is I get dropped, and the volée leader at the time says, "We've decided to rescind and refund your membership due to your continued disrespect of a fellow teammate in public forums."
Mm-hmm.
The team page was not a public forum. The fan page was not a public forum. And Twitter is a public forum, and there were 2 tweets regarding that blogger and her being listed as an elite. So continued disrespect. I asked, so I responded, and I said I would love a phone call. And they offered to refund my membership fee of $100, which, again, you are not supporting your elites if you're promoting a selfie at a marathon at the same weekend that your real elites are racing at Penn Relays and coming in 4th, or racing across the country and winning their races. Instead, you promote a selfie on a course when the woman who takes the selfie claims that she's racing for a time she really, really wants to make.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supporting your elites at that point. And that's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have it.
Yeah.
And but the reason I had joined was because of Kate Grace, an elite that they had who made it all the way through to the Olympics, to the final of the 800 meters. This was amazing. I loved following her journey. I know the majority of members also loved following the journey, and it was just phenomenal to watch her get as far as she did and keep PRing. She's been PRing for over, I want to say, a year now. And so let me grab a little bit more water.
Yes, get some water. Make sure you're clear and
right? So, let's see. We get to this point, and all of a sudden, guess who is discovered cheating again?
Uh-oh.
So I'm offered my $100 membership fee back, which I wanted to have go to the elites as it was promised. I said in multiple emails, do not return that money to me. It was meant for the elite athletes and the real elite athletes. And all of a sudden, I get mail, and there's a check for $100 signed by the CEO that is sent back to me. And I don't want your money. I don't want it. That was meant for the women that are going through medical school and being professional runners at the same time, who are beyond inspiring. That's meant for the women that you've placed your own efforts into to maintain them as Olympic caliber, world level athletes. That's not coming back to me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want it to go to where it was supposed to, because unlike the running company, I am not hypocritical.
Yeah.
And I am fully transparent about it. So that's where I wanted my money to go. I love supporting companies that support the elites, specifically because it's just so hard to do. So many of them, 50% of our elite athletes in track and field, they live under the poverty level. The blogger didn't know this, by the way. But that would be the $100 check that
looks like you
I didn't want it. I didn't want it back. I guess you'd have to go to Conversation Pace and check that out.
Yeah. Shout out to Conversation Pace, Coach Nicole, Excellent show.
Yeah, that would be part 2.
Oh, there's the moment right there.
And the check goes onto the ground. Nope. I put my money where my mouth is.
Mhm.
And they have put their money where their mouth is, which is supporting a blogger who promotes body positivity, which is wonderful.
Mhm.
But for a company that doesn't go above a size 12, I strain to see the purpose at that point.
Makes sense.
You want everyone to be included, but for years,
Mhm.
years, the women have been asking for larger sizes, for better fits, years. And so a lot of women that I am aware of, they didn't renew for multiple reasons.
Okay.
But and I'll let them tell their stories. But it's kind of you watch the hypocrisy gets worse. It gets worse. Not only do you support someone who now comes out as having bandited 2 more races earlier this year, and the proof is on all of her social and also on her Strava, which indicates what she did, and the fact that she posted video stating that she didn't pace another person, but the woman had to pace her because she was not doing the right, like she wasn't fast enough to keep up, but was offered compensated bibs for the courses that she ran upon. She had the offer of having a free bib, didn't take it, and refused to, pay for another bib. And then Oiselle's PR goes, well, in the name of civil disobedience, Bobby was a bandit. We don't need to ask for equal validation for both men and women to race anymore. You can pay for a bib, or if the race director wants to compensate you one, that's fine. But there's no need for you to run without a bib on a course. None.
Wow, this whole story fascinates me.
Right, but the best part is that Oiselle supported the banditing by retweeting it on their official Twitter.
Really? Wow.
And so here's what happens. You're a theft to the race directors. You're a theft from... You support elite runners. You have sponsored runners that run at the highest levels, but you're supporting cheating at the lowest ones.
Yeah.
This is a 3-peat cheat now.
3-peat cheat.
3-peat cheat. This is not even just once, and, I promised to learn my lesson. This is twice more. The race directors reached out. Derek Murphy reached out. She never responded to the emails. She ignored them. And then the truth came out. Hi, it's truth. There are facts. There is data and statistics to match what was happening. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you have a running company that is against hypocrisy, against the, wants more transparency from all of the upper end of the spectrum, and all of a sudden supports a cheater. Even Kara Goucher tweeted, and this tweet was deleted. But it's on screenshot that I am against banditing. Now, the CEO, on the other hand, tweeted and said, let's see, let me make sure I get it up right. Oh, well, after Runner's World published an article that stated that banditing is wrong in every sense of the word, she says, oh, it's good info. It makes me cringe now, but in high school, we used to sneak into UC Berkeley buildings after hours, breaking and entering.
Yeah,
so
we may not want to admit that.
Yeah, no, the sarcasm.
Yeah.
It's still wrong.
It's wrong.
Still wrong. And it'd be funny if someone decided to bandit the Oiselle race maybe in Seattle. How about someone doesn't pay for that bib so that the funds don't go where they're supposed to go in order to secure the permits? There's so much involved with banditing a race.
Wow.
It's still wrong.
It is.
At the end of the day, like if everyone has reasons they can't do a race. I've gotten sick. I've had other things come up. I've had to be out of town. Everyone has emergencies.
Comes up.
It happens. So, so then all of a sudden, these tweets come out. The race directors are upset that you just insulted a bunch of race directors across the country. And the hypocrisy continues. as they call me, a bully,
Yeah.
because that's why they support the blogger, because I'm a bully. I'm sorry.
That's
I don't have any power in this
yeah.
team. I only have the ability to speak for what I believe in, and
Mm-hmm. And
I
that's what you're
don't
doing.
I don't believe in cheating.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't believe in not stating exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, you
know, all
wanna.
you had to do was say, yes, we're sponsoring this woman. So then all of a sudden, the first actual clarification of the blogger's role comes from the CEO,
Mm-hmm.
stating that she's now a pro athlete at a 142 half marathon by an
Wow.
able-bodied woman under 30.
Wow.
Pro athlete.
That's an interesting pro athlete.
Let's just say that.
Wow.
So,
It's a crazy story.
yeah, and
It's really crazy.
all of a sudden, it's nice that you finally decided to clarify. But Oiselle usually has a nice rollout. They usually like to say, "This is why we did this." There's a blog that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, out of spite, I'm just saying. So,
Just saying.
yeah,
So
it was nice watching my character be assassinated a little bit.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Like I'm just quiet because I'm like taking this all in. Like it's so it's interesting because, I come in and out of the running circle like you and Nicole and Gerard when he's here. Gerard better get here next time.
Gerard, we really needed your voice.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
You guys really keep me up to date on everything, and just hearing this story is just really fascinating.
It was
to
a
me.
really big controversial situation in track and field at that time, because how do you support a cheater and then claim that you have runners against doping?
Yeah. It's just kind of hard to.
You've spoken out against Nike so often for paying cheaters to be on your team. For they are like, oh well, you have dopers on your team, and it's just a matter of like, well, put your money where your mouth is, and your actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. Calling reputable blogs fake news doesn't fly either. I mean, Derek Murphy is very well respected for the amount of effort that he puts in. And it's not right to ever, death threat or go attack someone for what they look like or anything of that nature. But if you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong. And calling someone out for cheating, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't. I think that there are other things that shouldn't be said or done or written, absolutely, without a doubt. And for everyone that I saw commenting saying how jealous I am of this blogger, I can't even start with that. I am not jealous of having body image issues to keep me from believing that I'm a runner. I'm not jealous of the tragedy that she's had to endure with her family. And bringing those things up with regards to, the cheating incidents, that's just wrong. Like, just leave that aside. There's no reason to do that. I'm not jealous of all of the obstacles she's had to go through. Not at all. There's nothing. I wouldn't want to take that on myself.
No.
I wouldn't want to lose a family member like the way
that's
that her
always,
family had to.
That's always
ever.
tough to deal
Nobody wishes someone anything poor like that.
Not at all.
I wouldn't. I don't know what kind of people do. Not the people that I keep around me, for sure.
Not good people.
Really.
But Aysha, I'm sure there's a ton more that we could go into with this.
Well, before we go.
Yes.
It is Fashion Week.
It is Fashion Week, yes.
And let's just remember that if we're going to talk about women and how important it is for women to have role models, Muslim models matter.
There we go. # Muslim models matter.
Because in culture, in Pakistani culture at least, being called a model is equivalent to being called a whore. So for me, having this opportunity to be there and use modeling as a voice to allow for other women to know that they can do anything that they want and there's no judgment that needs to be placed upon them is super important.
Very important.
So here's to reconnecting after Fashion Week
Yes.
and having more conversations.
We will have more conversation. Absolutely. Is there any place where can we see you during Fashion Week? Anywhere that you want to let us know where to go?
Catch me on the Instagram.
There we go, on the Instagram.
It's at model Aysha, A-Y, S as in Sam, H-A, last name Mirza, M as in Mary, I, R as in Robert, Z as in Zebra, A. And
There.
you can catch all of the running adventures at Aysha Runs, AYSHARUNS.
There we go. Excellent. Aysha, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me to speak some facts and truth.
Absolutely.
Always.
I love it. Guys, thank you for listening. Before we get out of here, as I always say at the end of every show here, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm sorry. I'm not the best, but I'm trying to get better.
It's not easy keeping up with social
It's
media
not
these
easy at
days.
all.
There's so much of it.
It's really tough, and I will post more. But it is LAWESHOWSM. So one more time, LAWESHOWSM. Basically, Life and Whatever Else Show, social media. That's what it is. And then on YouTube, Life and Whatever Else, no spaces. Life and Whatever Else, no spaces. So once again, Aysha, thank you for coming in. Appreciate
Be sure to check out
being here.
the Twitter and the blog for all of the screenshots and the emails.
There we
they're
go.
Coming.
So go ahead, guys, follow her, check everything out, and join us next time for another episode of Life and Whatever Else. Peace. Thank you, guys.